Countless historic events were considered, and you no doubt have your favorites. This event is being capped today. Our victorious representatives are approaching the pitcher's mound right now in two Chevrolets. One, a 1933 model, the year of the first All-Star Game. In selecting baseball's most memorable personality, the nation's news media and baseball officials placed the late colorful Dizzy Dean third. Second place went to the old professor, Casey Stengel. Now, please join us and our international audience in a salute to the most memorable personality. Tonight, represented by his daughter, Mrs. Julia Stevens of Conway, New Hampshire. The winner is the Bambino, George Herman Babe Ruth. In the category of most memorable moment in baseball history, third place was awarded to the only no-hitter in World Series play. It was on October 8th in 1956 when the Brooklyn Dodgers went all 9 innings without so much as having one base runner. The perfect game pitcher for the New York Yankees was Don Larson. Second place in the World Series All-Star category was the shot heard round the world. The 1951 National League playoff winning home run, which turned apparent victory into a stunning defeat for Brooklyn. Greet the man who struck that home run for the New York Giants, Bobby Thompson. And now, the most memorable moment. It came on April 8th, 1974, when baseball crowned a new home run champion at Atlanta Stadium. Let's all congratulate the man who created baseball's most memorable moment, Hank Aaron.
Doing the Pirate games in the National League, you saw Aaron his entire career in the National League.
He is a very outstanding man, Warner. There's no doubt about that. And one of the great things about it, as he closed in on Babe Ruth's record, the pressure was tremendous. It mounted everywhere. He handled it with the class and the thoroughbred of the man that he is.
Okay, we'll be back to more pregame ceremonies here at Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, for the 47th All-Star Game in just a moment.
8.4 million. Baseball and the sponsoring company, thank you. Now, let's meet the participants in this 47th All-Star Game. American League, the coaches are the manager of the Cleveland Indians, Frank Robinson. The manager of the Minnesota Twins, Gene Mott.
Hey, listen to that. Of course, the booing. Mark used to be the manager of the Phillies, and he'll be remembered as the manager of the Phillies in '64 when they blew the pennant with a 6.5 game lead and 12 days to go.
From the Kansas City Royals, Jim Dudley. Now, the American League All-Star players. Representing the Baltimore Orioles, shortstop Mark Belanger. From the Boston Red Sox, catcher Carlton Fisk. Pitcher Louis Tiant. First baseman Carl Yastrzemski. From the California Angels, pitcher Frank Tanana. From the Chicago White Sox, pitcher Rich Gossage. From the Cleveland Indians, pitcher Dave LaRoche. From the Kansas City Royals, outfielder Hal McRae. Outfielder Amos Otis. Shortstop Fred Patek. Representing the Milwaukee Brewers, third baseman Don Money.
Pretty good hand for Don Money, who of course played third base here for the Philadelphia Phillies before being traded to the Brewers.
Bill Travers. From the Minnesota Twins, catcher Butch Weiniger. From the Oakland A's, pitcher Wally Fingers. Second baseman Phil Garner. And from the New York Yankees, first baseman Chris Chambliss. Pitcher Catfish Hunter. Pitcher Sparky Lyle. Second baseman Willie Randolph. Outfielder Mickey Rivers. Let's greet the American League manager from the defending champion Boston Red Sox. Here is Darrell Johnson. Now the starting lineup. Leading off from the Detroit Tigers, his 30-game hitting streak earlier this year was the league's best in 27 seasons. Left fielder Ron LaFleur. Batting second from the Minnesota Twins, one of only 4 men in baseball history to win 4 consecutive batting championships. First baseman Rod Carew. Hitting third from the Kansas City Royals, only 23 years old, and the league's leading hitter with a .365 average, third baseman George Brett. Batting cleanup, representing the New York Yankees, the owner of a .318 average and 102 runs batted in during 1975, catcher Thurman Munson. Hitting fifth, representing the Boston Red Sox, last year's Rookie of the Year and Most Valuable Player, center fielder Fred Lynn. Batting in the 6th position from the Texas Rangers, only the second Major League shortstop in history to hit 20 home runs and steal 20 bases in the same year, Toby Harrah. Hitting 7th. From the Detroit Tigers, a 105 RBI man 1 year ago who has been selected to an All-Star team for the 6th time, right fielder Rusty Starr. Batting 8th from the Baltimore Orioles, a Major League record holder for highest fielding percentage at his position and a 3-time Gold Glove winner, second baseman Bobby Grich. And the pitcher, who is warming up in the bullpen, representing the Detroit Tigers, the owner of a league-leading 1.78 earned run average and 9 victories and 11 decisions in his rookie season, right-hander Mark Fidrich. It's time to meet the National League All-Star.
And now the National League. By the way, as the National League takes the field, President Ford is expected here later to throw out the first ball tonight.
The coaches are the manager of the San Diego Padres, John McNamara, and the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, Danny Ozark. The trainers, Cincinnati's Larry Starr, and Philadelphia's Don Seeger. Now the players. Representing the Atlanta Braves, pitcher Dick Ruthven. From the Chicago Cubs, catcher Steve Swisher. From the Cincinnati Reds, outfielder Ken Griffey. baseman Tony Perez. From the Houston Astros, outfielder Cesar Cedeno. Pitcher Ken Forsch. Representing the Los Angeles Dodgers, third baseman Ron Cey. Pitcher Rick Rhoden. Shortstop Bill Russell. From the Montreal Expos, pitcher Woody Fryman. From the New York Mets, pitcher John Matlack. And pitcher Tom Seaver. Representing the Philadelphia Phillies,
down here in Philadelphia. That'll be for Boone, Boer, Cash, Schmidt, and the starter. 5 Phillies in this ball game. And listen to the crowd cheering the Phillies in first place with a 10-game lead at the halfway mark. Listen to this crowd.
Catcher Bob Boone. Shortstop Larry Boa. Second baseman Dave Cash. Third baseman Mike Schmidt. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, outfielder Al Oliver. From the San Francisco Giants, pitcher John Montefusco. And from the St. Louis Cardinals, outfielder Bake McBride. Here from the world champion Cincinnati Reds is the manager who is directing his third National League All-Star team, Sparky Anderson.
Sparky Anderson, of course, booed by the Philadelphia fans because he picked 7 Cincinnati Reds, plus, of course, the balloting of the fans. All in fun, though, as you see Sparky laughing it off.
The National League starting lineup. Leading off from the Cincinnati Reds, the most valuable player in last year's World Series, who ties a record tonight by starting at his 4th All-Star position, third baseman Pete Rose.
Rose, of course, the Philadelphia fans, partisan, felt that Schmidt should have been the starting third baseman.
Batting second from the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Commissioner's Trophy winner as the most valuable player of this game 2 years ago, first baseman Steve Garvey. Hitting third from the Cincinnati Reds, the 1975 National League most valuable player, second baseman Joe Morgan. From the Cincinnati Reds, his 72 runs batted in lead the major leagues this season. Center fielder George Foster. Hitting fifth from the Philadelphia Phillies, the 1975 National League total base leader, when he pounded 72 extra base hits, left fielder Greg Luzinski. Sixth from the Cincinnati Reds, the all-time vote leader in All-Star history with nearly 13.4 million votes in 7 years, catcher Johnny Bench.
The boos, of course, for Bench simply because Bob Boone of the Phillies is out hitting Bench by 75 points.
Batting seventh from the New York Mets, his 30 home runs lead the major leagues. Right fielder Dave Kingman. Eighth from the Cincinnati Reds, starting his second consecutive All-Star game, shortstop Dave Concepcion. And the the pitcher who is warming up in the bullpen from the San Diego Padres, a 20-game winner last year, and a 3 All-Star Game, 16-game winner this season, left-hander Randy Jones.
All right, there you hear the reaction. Of course, to help commemorate our bicentennial year, the 200th anniversary of the country, there you see a replica of Independence Mall in Philadelphia in dead center field. Waiting for the President of the United States. And actually, we haven't had a president throw out a ball in an All-Star game since President Nixon in 1970 when he threw out the ball in Cincinnati.
President of the United States.
President Ford shaking hands first with American League manager Darrell Johnson. Marky Anderson. President Ford standing at home plate. Nice welcome from the Philadelphia fans. Now the president making his way toward the presidential box with both managers. Of course, in Washington, there is no baseball, as all baseball fans know.
Ladies and gentlemen,
just about ready for the national anthem.
Join with Philadelphia's Mike Douglas and the Navy Sea
As we
Chanters.
join Philadelphia's own Mike Douglas and the Navy Sea Chanters.
That you join in singing our national anthem. Our first captain is one of the 4 American leaguers to win 20 games in 7 different seasons. He won 207 contests for the Cleveland Indians and helped pitch them into 2 World Series. Please welcome American League honorary captain Bob Lemon. The National League captain spent 14 of his 19 Major League seasons right here with the Phillies. One of the famed whiz kids of the 1950 championship fills, 286 times in his career he was a winner, and his 5 starts share the record for the All-Star Game. Please welcome back honorary National League captain Robin Roberts.
Robin Roberts, of course, member of the 1950 Whiz Kids. Bob Uecker, did you ever face Robin Roberts?
Yes, I did. He was one of the other guys that struck me out, Warner.
Don't forget, we will be going back to New York perhaps later on tonight for the Democratic Convention, if it warrants itself to do so. You see Thurman Munson, Hank Aaron, President Ford. Johnny Bench and Thurman Munson will go after the first ball as thrown. Now, the president has a ball in each hand. Now, I guess he'll throw 2 balls, both right-handed, or will we see an ambidextrous throw? Remember in the opening game in Washington, they used to throw the balls to all the players. It was really a madhouse.
Yeah, I liked it better that way, Warner, when he threw 1 ball to both ball clubs, and then it was a mad scramble. That's why a lot of guys didn't get to play in the game. They got hurt then.
1 right and 1 left. Ambidextrous throws by President Ford. Signing the balls, of course, for Munson and Bench. We'll be back with the start of tonight's game from Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, after this message. Now, let's have the American League batting order as they introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Ron LaFleur. I'm playing left field for the All-Stars this year in the American League. And I would like to say hello, and I would like to thank all of the fans who voted for me this year, and I hope that I can do something to really make you feel proud of me.
Hi, I'm Rod Carew, Panama first baseman. Hi, I'm George Brett, Ken Brett's baby brother. I play third base for the Kansas City Royals from El Segundo, California. Thurman Munson, Canton, Ohio, catcher. Hi, I'm Freddie Lynn. My hometown is Del Monte, California, and I'll be playing center field.
Hi, I'm Toby Hara, hometown Bedford, Texas, shortstop.
I'm Rusty Staub. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm going to be playing right field.
Hello, I'm Bob Gritch from Long Beach, California, and I play second base for the Baltimore Orioles.
Mark Fittich. I live in Northborough, Massachusetts, and I'm a pitcher for the All-Star Game. Is that good?
I'm Darrell Johnson from Pinole, California, manager of the American League All-Stars.
There you see, certainly one of the most versatile show business people in the history of show business, Danny Kaye from Brooklyn, New York, and of course, part owner of this new Seattle franchise. Bob Prince, what about this defense for the National League?
Well, it's not as fast now as they normally will have, but they'll have Lozinski in left, and Foster will be out of position in center field. Kingman will be in right. They have Rose, Concepcion, Morgan, and Garvey around the infield, and Jones on the hill with Bench behind the plate. Randy Jones will come at him. He's 16-3, and he'll have that sinker ball working, and let's see how they try to work on him as Ron LaFleur from Detroit at 3:30 stands in here. 2 homers, 28 runs batted in. You will watch very carefully how Randy Jones will attempt to throw that sinker ball right at the knees every time he pitches. The plate umpire is Harry Wendelstedt of the National League. Jerry Neudecker of the American League at first. Andy Olson, National League at second. Don Deckinger of the American League. Foul, 1-1. Randy Jones, a premier left-hander with a 16-3 mark. LaFleur in his first All-Star game. Mounts to third, base hit. Well, he shot one through the left side. Now you have a little interesting situation here, Bob Uecker, because LaFleur can fly. He's stolen 29 bases.
He's got outstanding speed from the Detroit Tigers, talking about Ron LaFleur. And that time he got a breaking pitch from Randy Jones inside, and he rammed it to left field for a base hit.
Also, Bob Uecker, isn't it psychologically advantageous when the first guy up base hits, you know, perhaps maybe the rest of the team can hit this guy?
I go along with it.
1 strike. Now, here's a rather interesting situation. This is Rod Carew, 5-time American League batting champion. But you know what? In his 10th All-Star game, he carries a plate average of .095. 1 strike to him, no score. And back is LaFleur. And, man, that was close. Garvey put it right at him. Rod Carew from Gatun, Panama Canal Zone, now lives in Golden Valley, Minnesota. LaFleur at first. Rod Carew. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carew now playing at first base for the Minnesota Twins.
You know, you talk about this guy being a 5-time batting champion, Bob. He has got outstanding power.
Tails up inside. Rose coming up tight on the left side of the diamond. The outfield is swung to the left of Lozinski, Foster, and Kingman. Now, Foster's out of position in center, but he's overshadowing toward the line. Bounce left the right side. There's that double play shot. They got it, too. And I'll tell you, that's what Randy Jones will do to you almost all night long.
One more time is Randy Jones with a little slider, that tailor-made double play ball. Morgan, Concepcion, the relay to Garvey. No contest as Carew hits into a 4-6-3 double play.
Now here is young George Brett. He's batting at .365. He leads the major leagues in hits with 122, and in May he set his hit goal for the All-Star break was 120, so he's 2 over that. There's that sinker. Incredibly, 21 of his 82 games, he's gotten 3 hits or more. Brett of the Kansas City Ball Club. His brother Kenny pitching for the White Sox. No score, 2 down, first inning. Randy Jones and John Bench going here in the battery against George Brett. no strikes. They have taken down one of the scoreboards here so that they could accommodate approximately 3,000 more people. 3-0. And he has put him on. So that's the first walk. And the batter is going to be the New York Yankee catcher, Thurman Munson, batting at .319 on the year, 8 homers and 50 runs batted in.
Yeah, one of the outstanding players in the American League. This is for the Yankees, I guess you'd have to say this is their big RBI man. You're talking about clutch situations. You get guys on base when you need the big base hits, 2 outs. Thurman Munson's a guy that knocks him in for the Yankees.
This is his 5th All-Star game, and he carries an All-Star average of .286 on the season thus far for the Yankees at .319. The Yankees, of course, leading the American League East. Thurman Munson. Now Brett at first. Up the left side over is Concepcion, and on to Morgan for that familiar 6-4 force out. We go to the bottom half of the first inning here in Philadelphia, and the American League All-Stars, National League scoreless.
Pete Rose from Cincinnati, Ohio, third base. Hi, Steve Garvey, first base, National League, Tampa, Florida.
Hi, I'm Joe Morgan. I'm from Oakland, California, and I play second base for the Cincinnati Reds.
Hello, my name is George Foster. My hometown is Los Angeles, California, and tonight I will be playing center field for the National League All-Stars.
Greg Luzinski, Prospect Heights, Illinois, left field. Johnny Bench, Binger, Oklahoma, catcher, Cincinnati Reds. Dave Kingman, New York, New York, right field.
Hi, I'm David Concepcion. I'm from Venezuela and I'm playing shortstop.
Hi everyone, I'm Randy Jones. I'm from Poway, California, near San Diego. I'm a pitcher. Thanks.
Hi, this is Sparky Anderson. I'm manager of the National League All-Stars in my hometown of Thousand Oaks, California.
The starting National League team as they introduce themselves. And what about this defense, Bob Prince?
Well, we're going to have Ron LaFleur out in left field, and Freddie Lynn in center. Rusty Staub will be in right field. Georgie Brett will be at third. Toby Hare of Texas will be at shortstop. Bobby Grich of Baltimore will be at second. Rod Carew out of Minnesota will be at first. Munson behind the plate, and on the mound, the Bird, Fidrich, who starts his talking right now. The batter, Pete Rose. All-Star game for Pete, and he drives a base hit right up the middle. You know, Pete Rose already has 2,664 hits, and he figures by next year he'll get to the 3,000 mark and then some.
I'll tell you, he's got an outstanding chance. Well, this guy's been one of the outstanding hitters ever since he's come to the Major League level. Got a shot of Mark Fidrich there, setting his infield up. He wants him to play where he figures he's going to pitch each one of these National League batters. Pete Rose got a high fastball from him that time and ripped it to center.
Steve Garvey stepping in, and with a .300 batting average, 7 homers, 45 runs batted in. He made the '74 All-Star team on a write-in vote by more than 1 million fans, and he was the MVP. Pete Rose at first base. Ball, they're playing Garvey to pull the ball. They gap him in right center a little bit as Staub peels off toward the right field line. His daddy's here with him tonight. That's hit down the right side. Staub running and can't get it. And it gets by Rusty. Now Rusty falls down. And Rose will score. And Garvey heads for third. There'll be no play there.
Hey, I'll tell you something right now. Steve Garvey, previous 2 All-Star games, had 2 singles, a double, and a home run. And believe it or not, we talked yesterday as you watch it again and said, Steve, what about a triple and become one of the few players to hit for the cycle in total All-Star games? And here he is, first time up triple. And now Garvey has hit for the cycle in All-Star game play.
I tell you, Mark Fidrich is twice on both of the first 2 batters he has faced. That's not the way we've seen him pitch. We had him a couple of weeks ago on a Monday night game. He is upstairs tonight, and he has got hurt twice. Although Rusty Staub should have made the play in right field on that ball.
Joe Morgan standing in at .330, number 7 in the National League batting. He and the Bird going at it. They're going to play the infield back to Morgan. Popped him up, shallow right field. Back goes Grich, up comes Staub. Staub is calling, tagging is Garvey. Here's the come, and the throw will hold him at third. Oh.
see a good shot of Rusty Staub. He threw that ball on the line to Thurman Munson. No chance for Garvey to score. That ball was hit to short right field. Not going to take a chance anyway with George Foster coming on next.
And this man is hitting in there at 72 runs driven in. Mark Fidrich now looking in here, and he's got a problem. He's trailing by a run, and Garvey's at third with only one out.
You know, you talk about a draw. Here, Fidrich in his last 3 starts has drawn over 50,000 fans in Detroit. And when he doesn't pitch, they average only 18 per game.
Foster, weak ground ball down towards second. Rich up. They'll throw him out. He gets an RBI as Garvey comes in to score. And the National League on top now, 2-0. Now this is for only one reason, this roar. Greg Luzinski of Philadelphia. Two down, outfield swung way around to the left. High pop, shallow right, going back for it. Carew off the foul side. Stays with it and grabs it for the out to retire the side. So for the National League All-Stars, they get 2 runs on 2 hits. They don't strand anybody. 2-0 and a 1.
There's Lynn hitting to the opposite field off the wall in Fenway Park. Having a pretty good year again, as you can see. Look at him coming in. He comes in as well, and of course goes out as well.
All right, here at the action, Freddie Lynn of the Red Sox batting at .324, 6 homers, 34 runs batted in. Randy Jones and the National Leaguers leading 2-0. Big chop down first base, foul ball. You know, one thing about Freddie Lynn, last year he won 13 major awards, including MVP and Rookie of the Year. He batted .331, he had 21 homers, had 105 ribbies, 47 doubles, and he never went hitless in more than 3 straight games. Another foul. Originally went to Southern California University on a football scholarship, but played baseball for a great coach out there, Rod Dado. So we have a no ball, 2-strike count. Frank Robinson coaching at first, Gene Mock over at third. Beat up foul, and this guy will really make you ground ball.
That's one of the things the the American League would have to do against Randy Jones. There you saw Fred Lynn try to pull a breaking pitch. He tried to hit that ball to the right field side, and as we saw him in that little clip, he's got the ability to hit the ball the opposite field.
That's popped up, and it'll come out of play unless the wind brings it back in for him. It does, and it's caught by Garvey right over the head of Johnny Bench. There's a big, strong wind up there, and the spin of that ball, too, on a hit by those fellows makes it quite a bring it right back down, doesn't it, Bob Uecker?
Well, anytime that foul ball goes up, Bob, it's got that opposite spin that brings it back toward the infield. And ball goes up behind the plate. You've always got a chance, and Garvey made the play, but Bench and Garvey stayed right with it. Here's a fella you can talk about. I think he's very underpublicized. Toby Harrah, the Texas Rangers. Fine shortstop for the Texas Rangers. He's one of the bigger shortstops. He's got power. He can hit the home runs. He's only the second shortstop in baseball history to hit 20 home runs during a season and steal 20 bases. He's in there with 8 right now. Bounce toward third baseman Pete Rose. Guns it across to Garvey. 2 are down. Randy Jones in the National League here in the second inning, leading the American League by the score of 2-0. Now, there's one other thing about this Randy Jones that he'll do. If you crowd the plate on him, and you'll see it right now in Staub, he'll then go to his slider. Jones is firing the ball upwards about 76 miles an hour, and we'll tell you something interesting about that. And that's not too fast, but that's we figured it out. Bob Deacus here, one of our fine men at ABC, went out and pitched the ball at the slowest you can pitch it without it hitting the dirt is 40 miles an hour. Now, so 76 miles an hour isn't very fast, but Jones still gets you out. I don't believe it'll raise a welt on you, but it's halfway decent.
If you're going to get hit by a pitch, get hit by Randy Jones.
Huh?
That's Bobby Grich there on deck. Out of Baltimore. So Rusty Staub, who does not give in at all, has a ball, 2-strike, 2 count, 2 down in the American League second inning, and the National League on top 2-0. and stay right in there on the knees. There's the manager, that's Yastrzemski of the Boston Red Sox, with the Yankee catcher Thurman Munson. That's walloped to right field for a base hit.
You're going to watch something interesting now on Rusty Staub. He'll take off his batting gloves, or at least he does in the regular season, put them in his pocket, and take out his sliding gloves. But I guess for the All-Star game, he just goes with his regular gloves.
Here's a remarkable athlete, and a Paulette is 6'2", and it's unbelievable that a man that height could play well as he does at second base.
He's one of the more aggressive second basemen that I've ever seen. Talking about Bobby Grich, he's got good speed, he's got good power, Bob, and he's hitting .295. He's having a good year for the Baltimore Orioles.
Well, with 2 out, Rusty Staub at first on the second hit of the ball game off Randy Jones. Staub, pretty good lead over there. That ball tailed away. Ball 2 and no strikes. Grich, you know, was 3 straight Golden Gloves at second base. There's Fidrich on deck. They're not using the designated hitter in the All-Star game. Check swing, bounce to shortstop Concepcion, and DeGarvey to retire the side. So it's no runs and 1 hit, no errors and 1 left. And we're getting ready now to go into the National League second inning with the score of the National League 2, the American League nothing.
Would you believe over 2 million men?
All-Star player reactions on meeting Mark Fidrich.
Well, we haven't had a chance to see him do any groundskeeping work around the mound area yet, but if you've seen him pitch before, and if not, you may see him do that. Work the mound area over with his hands, talk to the baseball, talk to where he wants it to go, tells it location. He's got his act. There you see him right now. Now he's getting it on.
And he's going to go against Johnny Bench. Ball 1. Bench bats .409 in his ninth, going into the 9th All-Star game. He's been a real tough out. Johnny has a problem. He's batting at .234, 9 homers, 45 runs batted in. He'll have to let go of the bat a lot of times, so you'll watch Fidrich work here now. See how Bench let go of the bat with that right hand? That hurts him, Bob Uecker, to swing that bat.
It hurts him to swing, but not to throw. He throws as well as he ever has, but hitting-wise, it hurts him.
Missed with his curveball. It's a 2-0 National League ball game. Rose singled, Garvey tripled him home, Foster grounded out, and Garvey scored. We're in the second. That's line to left field. Base hit for John Bench. Not likely to see John steal, but you know he's not been thrown out in 21 consecutive tries.
I'd say that's a surprising statistic, certainly.
Well, here's Sky King. He has 30 home runs. Dave Kingman. He'll either strike out or hit it clean out of sight. Hit it high off the right side, and it looks playable by Rod Carew. And there's 1 down. That'll bring up Cincinnati shortstop Dave Concepcion, batting on the year at .263, 6 homers and 33 runs batted in. This is his 3rd All-Star game. He's from Venezuela. You couldn't get a seat in this beautiful stadium. It's just jam-packed, just almost 64,000 here. They're going. The ball's hit back up the box. Johnny Bench on his way to 3rd has a hit and run right there. Tell you, if Concepcion takes the pitch, Bench has got the base stolen, too. So they got him at 1st and 3rd.
Concepcion hits one right back to the box. Look out, Birdman. Right back to the box. Bench is at 3rd. Concepcion at first base, and the National League has got something going again here in the American League bullpen. Is getting busy very quickly.
93 miles an hour, that last ball was pitched, but it went back through his legs a lot faster than 93 miles an hour. You know, we were talking about what a great draw Fidrich is. Bob Uecker and Warner, and he is a great draw. This guy right here, Randy Jones, is one whale of a draw, too, because on his home dates, he averages about 11,000 or more. attendance when he's pitching as against nights when he's not pitching. He's back. Sparky, there's going to be, I believe, a short pass ball that'll allow Concepcion to move up into second base. We'll await an official decision.
Got to be a pass ball. You look at it. This ball's almost a strike. That ball really handcuffed Thurman Munson. That was a good sinking fastball from Mark Fidrich. That ball handcuffed Munson.
Thought it was interesting after Fidrich beat the Yankees on national television here on ABC 2 weeks ago. After the game, Munson said, well, I don't really go for Fidrich's antics. Called him a little semi-bush as Jones strikes out, and they asked Fidrich, who's Munson? Well, he told him the comments, and Fidrich says, who's Munson?
How about, too, that Greg Nettles, you remember that Monday night game we all did? Greg was talking to his bat, telling the bat to hit the ball for a home run, and he said later on after he popped up he forgot his bat was a Japanese bat and didn't understand English. Pete Rose, who singled up the middle and scored. Now with runners at first and second, or rather second and third, 2 down, leading 2-0. Rose, of course, a switch batter. Gets beat up toward first baseman Rod Carew. Fidrich just in time for the out to retire the side. So Fidrich comes charging off the field, and we've gone through 2 innings of play here, and the National League is on top 2-0. We'll remind you once again, Harry Reasoner's on the scene in New York. Any major significance, any newsworthy things coming out of there, you will hear immediately from that. And also, when you had a look up into the Olympic situation in Montreal, it perhaps might have looked to you as though Olga Corbett was injured. She was not. We're very happy to report. There's the bird, Mark Fidrich. And Catfish Hunter is warming up for the American League. Warner Wolf has gone on down, and we'll be having some interviews from out of the tunnel down there a little later on. Meanwhile, Tom Seaver listening now for the National League. So we'll have now a pinch batter. It's going to be Hal McRae. What kind of years he been having, Bob Uecker?
This guy's one of the tough hitters in the American League also with the Kansas City Royals. He's been used as the designated hitter for Kansas City, but he can hit. I guarantee he can hit. His first look at Randy Jones tonight.
So Hal McRae standing in. McRae out of Kansas City is just batting at .347. So, you know, that bears out exactly what Bob Uecker just pointed out. He bats here in place of pitcher Mark Fidrich. The National League leading here in the top of the third, 2-0. Didn't want to, and it's a check swing. Randy Jones taking his time, now throws low, but Garvey holds for the out. Now Ron LaFleur is getting ready to come up here.
Talking about Ron LaFleur, the Tigers center fielder, but playing left field here tonight in the All-Star game. We asked Ron LaFleur about right-handed pitcher Mark Fidrich.
Well, they just look at the bird as a really crazy, you know, young guy, but like he's not really, you know, like everybody get along, and he's just the type of guy to just keep everything going. He's jumping around, he's dancing in the clubhouse, he's hollering, you know, he has a lot of girls around him and stuff like this, but, you know, we try to keep him away from that because, you know, him messing with a lot of girls a lot of times, it's not going to really help his career at all, and like we're trying to keep that at a minimum. As long as we can do that, like everybody's looking out for him, we're trying to look out for his best interest, you know, and like as long as he's our teammate, like we're going to do everything in our power to try and keep him out of any trouble that, you know, that may be around.
How'd you like to have a bodyguard like that, Uke?
I'd rather be Mark Fidrich, I believe.
Ron LaFleur, who singled in the first inning and then was doubled up. Standing in now with 1 down. And Jones just gives him that baffling little slider and picks up his first strikeout. That's 2 down in the American League third inning. That'll bring up Rod Carew, who hit into that double play. noted, the All-Star second baseman all 9 seasons in the American League. He's now playing, of course, at first base for the Twins. There's that curveball. Randy Jones is right around the knees. He learned to get that sinker ball pitch, Bob Uecker, down to, no matter where you stand, he gets it right down to your knees. Broke his bat on that one. Now you're going to have to cover as Morgan will throw to Jones for the out. Garvey had recommitted and gone to the opposite side. So he has a very fast inning, and we go now to the bottom of the 3rd inning. National League 2, American League nothing. All right, you're going to see Catfish Hunter pitching now for the American League All-Stars. Catfish in with a record of 10-8 this year with the Yankees. Fidrich went 2 innings for 2 runs, 4 hits, striking out 1, no walks. Garvey on the bunt try, foul. What's Catfish? He's coming on a little better now, Bob Uecker.
Well, he's always a slow starter, but the Yankees have got a big lead in the Eastern Division. Catfish Hunter, good fastball, good hard slider. I think one of the few pitchers that you'll see throw a changeup off his slider. He changes speeds on his slider so many times, but he's got outstanding stuff. He's another guy that'll pitch inside, too, to the right-handed batters.
And he's working here to Steve Garvey, who hits a little flipper up the right side foul, and Rod Carew will guard that one in. And there's one away. Now, here's the way the scoring went. Pete Rose led off with a base hit up the middle off Mark Fidrich. Garvey then tripled to right on a ball that Rusty Staub allowed to get by him, driving in Rose. With the infield back, Foster drove in a run with the infield out on a ground out to second, and that's it. Now here's Joe Morgan. He flied to right back in the 1st inning. Catfish Hunter make you hit the ball on the ground a lot, too, won't he, Bob Uecker? Ball 2. Yep. Joe Morgan. That's hit deep, foul down the right field line and out of play. Bob, I think the noise and all going here. Hunter has the ability to make you hit the ball a lot on the ground.
He's got good hard stuff. Everything he throws is hard, Bob. He's got the good fastball. He likes to pitch downstairs. You got to pitch downstairs to be successful. But as I said, he is not afraid to pitch inside.
And he got ripped there by Morgan as he went up the middle. This Morgan is just unbelievable. He drew over 3 million in voting as you look at him there with that base hit. He now joins the only other 2 men to get 3 million votes, and that's Reggie Jackson and Rod Carew.
And you're looking at the Gillette Trophy for the most valuable player. Most votes. I beg your pardon.
Here's George Foster now. They'll play him to pull the ball. This fellow does not look like he weighs 190 pounds, but let me tell you, he is. Now, Morgan, of course, is a very definite threat to be running. He's already stolen 23 bases this year. Look at the lead he gets off that bag. He takes the break, and the ball's hit foul down the left field line. In and out of that picnic area they have here in the Vet Stadium.
That is not one of the All-Stars. That's one of the ball girls here in Philadelphia.
There's that picnic
stationed
area
on each line.
Yeah, but very delightful little area there, and you see that lovely young lady. And a happy fan got the baseball, an All-Star souvenir. This game really does it to you, doesn't it? That's hit deep left center field, and Lynn's going for it. So is LaFleur, and you can kiss it goodbye.
Time Catfish Hunter a fastball, and look at George Foster. He leads the major leagues and runs batted in. He really got into a Catfish Hunter fastball and drove it out of here in deep left center field, and the National League now leads 4-0.
And here's Greg Luzinski. He hits a high towering fly left field. Ron LaFleur has room on the warning track and comes up there for the out. 2 down. You know, before the ball game, Pete Rose was telling all the writers from all over the nation, and I mean there are here by the hundreds, that consistently Foster hits the ball harder than anybody in the National League.
I could go along with that. We've seen him now 3 times during the course of the season. He is some kind of strong.
Johnny Bench, he's single left back in the 2nd inning. National League leading now here in the 3rd inning 4-0. They lit up Fidrich and they lit up Catfish Hunter. There's this National League power that we were talking about earlier with Warner and with Bob Uecker. You know, this 8 starting lineup have 108 home runs and 421 runs driven in. That's firepower, Bobby.
Yeah, they're outstanding. They've got the big hitters on the National League Ball Club, but there's a long way to go in the ball game.
Oh, it's not over. That's a cinch. In Foster's first All-Star game, he got to be thrilled with that home run, huh? Johnny Bench. And it's now ball 1 and strike 2. 2 down, none on to the Oklahoma City lad. This season, he's thrown out 26 of 47 runners attempting a steal. Foul back. It's his 8th All-Star game. He has 21 unbelievable stolen bases. Haven't thrown him out in 21 tries. Wouldn't think that of him at his size. There's John letting go of that bat again. That right shoulder really hurts him. But it's 2 big runs for the National League All-Stars on a booming home run by George Foster with Morgan aboard. And the 3-4 nothing National League. It was one of the great names in baseball. There can be no denying that. Seaver has won 9, lost 5, and is on a team that really, Bob Uecker doesn't score too many runs for him, but he is just a consistently fine performer.
Well, when you talk about power pitching, you're talking about a pitcher like Tom Seaver. Outstanding fastball. He's got outstanding control to go along with everything that he throws. As you said, Bob, he's been one of the premier pitchers in baseball.
Randy Jones is, of course, now the pitcher of record. Went 3, no runs, 2 hits, 1 strikeout, and 1 walk. So he'll be the pitcher of record as we head into the 4th inning with the American League sending up Brett Munson and Freddie Lynn. So Tommy Seaver will have his work cut out for him. And 7th in here now to carry you right along is our partner, Bob Uecker.
All right, Bob Prince, thank you very much. We start the American League's 4th inning, and they trail by a score of 4-0 as you look at George Brett. His first time up, he walked. Randy Jones walked 1 and struck out 1 in the 3 innings that he worked. Brett on the regular season, he leads the major leagues in hitting, .365. He has homered 4 times and knocked in 35 runs. There is a good Tom Seaver fastball strike call.
You know, Brett got 3 hits in 6 consecutive games from May 8th to the 13th, which could probably be a major league record.
Ball 1, strike 1 to Brett. As you look at Tom Seaver, and he is tough. That was the express right by George Brett up around the letters. In the 4th inning now, we've got the honorary captains. Bob Lemon is coaching at first base for the American League. Hit in the air to right field. Dave Kingman has got this one measured. Easy play for him. 1 down. Talking about Tom Seaver, he's up around 96 miles an hour on our jugs machine. And that is getting it up there in a hurry. 1 down in the American League 4th inning. And it brings up the catcher, Thurman Munson.
We might explain one thing, Bob Uecker, too, as Warner Wolf will be around with us shortly. If the starting pitchers cannot go more than 3 innings, and if you get into extra innings, then the last pitcher can go as long as the manager wants him to go.
Or until he runs out of gas.
Right.
Fouled by Munson, and that one got Johnny Bench. Don't forget the Olympics begin this Saturday with coverage right here on ABC. 2 weeks of outstanding Olympic coverage from Montreal, the Summer Games.
Well, I'll tell you something. Checking on Johnny Bench, he got really ripped on that foul ball, but that's going to be something. You'll see this again. This is why they just one of those foul tips, and just caught him and couldn't do anything about it.
That one got Johnny Bench up around the shoulder on the right side.
I'm sure looking forward to that Olympic thing. The coverage, Warner Wolf will be there, Howard Cosell and all. They're going to have one whale of Olympic coverage. It's going to be exciting as all get out.
The fans in the background are hollering, "We want Boone," after Johnny Bench got hit with that foul tip. Breaking ball is low. It's 1-1 to Thurman Munson. You know, talking about the Olympics, boy, I'd love to be up there.
Oh, I would too. Why don't you speak to Roon?
I did a little hammer throwing in high school, 14 years old. Yeah, 16-pound hammer.
I'll be darned.
Been wearing a truss ever since. Couldn't handle it. 2 balls and a strike to Thurman Munson. The National League 4 and the American League nothing in the 4th inning. In the air, out of play by Munson.
You know, like Chet Forty and Rune Ollie, of course, everybody going up there, Don Ohlmeyer, they're going to have about 400 people up there to cover the Olympics, so it starts up here in a couple of weeks, and ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be something. 2 weeks of great coverage on ABC.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Munson. Tom Seaver. There you see the on-deck batter, Fred Lynn, the American League center fielder. Munson on the regular season hitting at .319 for the Yankees. 8 home runs, and he has knocked in 50 runs. He is the Yankee captain. Short center field, Dave Concepcion. Shortstop, 2 down. Concepcion, the shortstop, as you see him go back now on this little pop-up off the bat of Thurman Munson. One of the fine shortstops in baseball. Having a fine year for Cincinnati. That was a Tom Seaver slider, low and inside. Fred Lynn, his first time up back in the 2nd inning, fouled to the first baseman. 2-0. The New York Mets premier right-hander, Tom Seaver. In the air, right field deep. It's got a chance to get out of here for Lynn. Gone. Home run. Well, Freddie Lynn has just put the American League on the scoreboard. He drove one out of here to deep right field. And it's now a 4-1 ball game as you look at a happy Fred Lynn.
Well, I'll tell you, Tommy got something up, and Tommy has a good home run pitch. Most good control pitchers do, and that makes it a 4-1 ball game.
There you see the American League bench finally got something to cheer about. That is Hal McRae right there. Here's Toby Harrow, the Texas shortstop. Bullseye. Harrow on the season hitting at .278 for the Rangers. He has homered 8 times and knocked in 43 runs. 2 strikes to him.
You know, just before the All-Star break, Kuzman, Seaver, and Matlack all appeared in the same game. How'd you like to have that lineup coming at you?
Anytime or tonight? Upstairs on the right field side. Boy, Harrow fouled a tough pitch that time. Good fastball from Seaver. You know, you looked at Johnny Bench, it looked like he was still hurting from that foul tip that he took. We might see Bob Boone in the next inning. They'd love to see him here in Philadelphia. In the air, the second baseman, Joe Morgan, puts it away and the side's retired. But the American League gets on the board here in the 4th inning. They got a run on 1 hit, the home run by Lynn. At the end of 4.5 innings, 4-1. National League.
They got to save last year's game. It could be the winning pitcher, Randy Jones. Pretty good performance, Randy.
I'd say the first couple innings, it wasn't me really out there. I was a little nervous, a little tense.
Were you?
Oh, yeah. Like last year, it happened so fast in the 9th that I really didn't have to worry about it too much. I got 3 quick outs, and it was all over. But I got plenty of time to think about it, you know, today. And this evening, I got a little tense, a little uptight. But I think the 3rd inning, I started smoothing out a little bit, and I felt like myself again. Just, I was so excited, just a thrill to represent, you know, the National League like this and be all over the country and see us play so well.
Randy, did that account for the walk? You know, you average only 1 walk per game, and you walked Brett in the 1st inning.
I think 2 of those fastballs I threw to Brett were probably the hardest I've thrown in about 4 years. I think I was just so pumped up and so excited about being out there that, you know, I just really couldn't smooth it out. I was able to smooth it out enough to get 3 outs that inning, and I felt a lot better as the game went on.
Okay, thank you, Randy Jones, who at this point stands to be the winning pitcher if the National League should hold on to this lead. Now back up to the booth.
Well, you saw Dave Kingman swing a 3 off Catfish Hunter. 1 down, he strikes out. And it brings up the shortstop, Dave Concepcion. Good breaking ball by Catfish Hunter. 0-1 to Concepcion. He had a base hit his first time up. In the air, left field. Coming on, Ron LaFleur. He is going to get there now, and he's got it. LaFleur misplayed that ball a little bit. He backed up on it first, but come on to make the catch.
They're doing something here. They put a young man out there by the name of Robin Roberts, going to the Hall of Fame, the coach at first base for the National League All-Stars. Robin Roberts at first base. There he is, one of the greatest right-hand pitchers I ever saw in baseball.
Yes, sir. Tom Seaver, the pitcher. Good breaking ball by Hunter. 0-1. Seaver's not a bad hitting pitcher. Fastball. 0-2. The National League 4 and the American League 1 were in the 4th inning. Strikes him out. Good breaking ball by Hunter. Easy inning for Catfish. In the National League 4th, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We've completed 4 full innings now, and it's the National League 4 and the American League, not 1.
The top half.
Lineup changes now for the National League. Coming on to play center field, Cesar Cedeno. George Foster moves to right field. And the shortstop, the new shortstop for the National League, Larry Boa. Catching now for the National League, Bob Boone replacing Johnny Bench. There you see Bob Boone. Rusty Staub, 1 strike to him. The National League leads in the ballgame by a score of 4-1. On the right field side, foul. 2 strikes to Rusty Staub. He singled his first time up to right field.
You saw that wind kicking up there. We got a handheld cameraman up on the top of this stadium. That wind must be blowing 40 miles an hour up there.
A ball and 2 strikes to Rusty Staub.
There's a shot from that handheld camera. Isn't that magnificent? Great camera work up there.
Out of play by Staub as he faces an ex-teammate, Tom Seaver. Spent years together with the New York Mets. Number 9 for Tom Seaver. Right field, another base hit for Rusty Staub. He's 2 out of 2. That is hit number 4 in the ballgame for the American League. And coming on now, the second baseman, Bobby Grich. The National League in the first inning, a single by Rose, a run-scoring triple by Garvey, and a ground ball by George Foster driving in a run made it 2-0. In the third, a 2-run homer by Foster after Morgan had singled put the National League in front 4-0. Fouled by Bobby Grich. Bob Uecker along with Warner Wolf and Bob Prince from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The 1976 All-Star Game. 2 strikes to Grich as Tom Seaver heats it up. The American League's run came in the 4th inning when Freddie Lynn hit one out of here off Tom Seaver. That's where we are right now, 4-1 National. A ball and 2 strikes.
Luis Tiat there warming up. There is the man that's got 9 million different motions, and he'll show you all of it somewhere along the line.
Boston Red Sox right-hander Luis Tiat. Ball 2, strike 2 to Bobby Grich. Baltimore Orioles second baseman hitting a .295. He has homered 7 times and knocked in 23 runs. Third base side foul. That is Mickey Rivers, the on-deck hitter, the New York Yankees center fielder. Out of play by Bobby Grich, hanging tough against Tom Seaver. As you're looking at Tom Seaver. Hit back up the middle, Morgan. Boa, relay, double play. They turned another one. Taylor made again. 4, 6, three. Morgan, Boa, and Garvey turn it on the American League.
I'll tell you one thing. You'll watch this feed here because Morgan just makes a great feed to Boa, gives him plenty of chance to tag the back, get out of the way, and whap him.
Oh, the American League, when it looks like they get something going, the National League has turned their second double play in the ballgame. Pinch hitting now, Mickey Rivers, the New York Yankees center fielder. One strike to him. Rivers hitting at .310 for the Yankees. He has homered 5 times and knocked in 39 runs. Talk about a guy who can really fly. Talking about Mickey Rivers. Really turned things around for the Yankees. There's a slider from Seaver that got the inside corner.
He stole 25 bases already for the Yankees. As Billy Martin says, it's been one of the great team efforts, but this fellow's been a great part of it, Mickey Rivers.
2 men out, 5th inning. Out of play, left field side.
I'll tell you, Bob, you got to just admit it. President of the United States here, 64,000 people, the All-Star Game, the cream of everything. They're playing baseball. They're going right at it. Baseball attendance is up. It's unbelievable.
Ball 2, strike 2 as you look at Mark Fidrich, and we're going to have a little talk with him in a couple of minutes. Got him. Seaver strikes out Mickey Rivers. That takes care of the American League in the 5th inning. No runs, 1 hit, none left. At the end of 5 1/2, National League 4, American League 1. Now he warms up. Let's go down to the dugout. Our column corner wolf with Mark Fidrich.
All right, thank you. Mark Fidrich right here. Mark, kind of a rough 2 innings. What's your reaction to it?
Life.
That's the way it goes.
Life. I don't know, man. I was happy to be here. I'm happy to have my teammates that got me here, that did it. Say hi to them all and wish them best of luck. We got to do next, season. Damn, I didn't show them what I could do, though.
How about the base hit to Rose, the first guy up base hit? Did that affect you at all?
No, he got a base hit last time I faced him in the Expedition games the first time up. I don't know. That guy knows my pitches, I guess.
Listen, you always, all these complete games, and you had to come out after 2. Would you like to go back out there again?
Yes, I would, just because I love being out there. And, just representing our team and, playing with all these guys. It's neat, just meeting them for my first time ever, talking to them and all that. And it was great. This is one of the great games. I was up for it, but damn, they knocked me out fast enough.
Okay, Mark, thanks for coming on. Now back up to the booth.
Pete Rose leads it off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And let's take a look at this hard-driving Pete Rose.
He really knocks that poor Fosse over.
Well, you got to try to win the ball game, and he had the plate blocked, and you have to either be safe or out. And it just so happened that I got there a split second before the ball reached him, and that benefited me because I was able to knock him out of the way, and I got the plate, and I was safe. And we won the ball game. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody. Matter of fact, he was at my house until 2 o'clock in the morning the night before, and it's just a shame that it sort of wrecked his career because he was another Johnny Bench at that time, and he played the rest of the season with a separation of his shoulder, and he's never been the same since. He's a fine fella.
Pete Rose talking about Ray Fosse, and boy, a tough play that really put Fosse on the shelf and kind of turned his career around. Lineup changes now for the American League. Carl Yastrzemski is playing in left field. Mickey Rivers has come on to play right field. A new shortstop, Mark Belanger. Louis Tion is pitching to his battery mate from the Boston Red Sox, Carlton Fisk. Rose singled and scored in the 1st inning. His 2nd time up, he bounced to 1st. Switch hitting, Pete Rose. Right center field, going to be a base hit. Extra bases for Rose all the way to the wall. Here's Lynn on the pickup. Rose is going to try for 3. Bobby Gritch's relays, head first slide. He beat it.
Pete Rose does not know what it means to slow down. He often says that if he slows down, he's going to get hurt. Now watch this headlong slide. It tells you all you ever have to see. And that's just about what you always see when you're watching Pete Rose play ball.
There he is digging around second. One more time, he heads for third, and he is in as George Brett takes the throw.
Yeah, Stensky made a fine relay, but I want to tell you something. That's great camera work cutting in there.
Steve Garvey. Breaking ball outside from Louis Tiant. The National League 4, the American League 1 in the 5th inning. Louis Tiant. Ball 1 and strike 1 to Steve Garvey. That triple by Rose. He is now 2 out of 3 in the ball game. Ball 2 and strike 1 as Tiant missed inside.
Forces that American League infield to come up, Hugh.
They are playing up to try and stop another run. Good breaking ball by Louis Tiant. I told you before, he gives you all kind of motions out there. Turns around, looks in the outfield. He's all arms and legs. Tough guy to follow. Count is even to Garvey, 2-2. Time is called. Garvey stepped out for a moment. And he just missed with that fastball. He's run the count full on Garvey, 3-2. Third base side, backhanded Brett, fair ball, throw in the dirt, picked out by Carew. A fine play on both ends. Nice backhanded grab by Brett as throw was in the dirt. And Rod Carew dug it out. As you look at the Minnesota first baseman, look at the backhanded grab by George Brett. Rose had to hold it third. He almost tagged him as he went back to the bag. Joe Morgan. Morgan is 1 for 2 in the ball game. This will be the second baseman, Bobby Grich. 2 down as Tiant gets tough. 2 men out, Rose still at third base. And it brings up the right fielder now, George Foster. He started the ball game in center field. He has knocked in 3 runs for the Nationals. First inning on a ground ball. In the third, he had a 2-run homer. Good breaking ball from Tiant. Strike 1. Foster with 72 RBIs on the regular season, 17 home runs, 327 batting average. Boy, what a year he is having for Cincinnati. Almost threw it by Carlton Fisk. As you look at Sparky Lyle, Yankee left-handed relief ace. There you see Sparky's stats on the year. 17 saves for New York. Ball 2 and strike 1 now to Foster. That is Greg Luzinski, the Bull. Philadelphia Phillies left fielder. Louis Tiant. Pete Rose, the runner at third. He led it off with a triple. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Foster. Well, our colleague Warner Wolf is back upstairs.
All right, Bob, what did I miss? In 3 seconds, what did I miss?
Randy Jones is something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Foster. Belanger, the shortstop. Oh, what a job by Tion after giving up the leadoff triple to Pete Rose. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We'll be back with more of the 1976 All-Star Game after this word from our local station.
All right, there you see it. Go ahead, Bob.
Lineup changes. There you see the count of Monte Fusco from the San Francisco Giants. He is now on pitching for the National League. Al Oliver has come on to play right field. Tony Perez will be the new first baseman for the National League. And Mike Schmidt is the new third baseman. Philadelphia infield now. Dave Cash at second base. As we go to the top half of the 6th inning with the American League trailing by a score of 4-1.
There you see Carl Yastrzemski, 3-time American League batting champion, certainly one of the most versatile players ever to play in the American League. Let's take a look at Yaz now. Of course, you remember he came up, was a great left fielder, and then they moved him over to the first base, and he plays both as well. An all-star, Carl Yastrzemski. Look how he plays that wall in Boston like nobody else, or perhaps like Ted Williams did. You know, once in a while, Yastrzemski will lose his temper. Here he was called out on strikes. Look what he does to the plate. He covers it up, throws his hat, and walks off. Carl Yastrzemski. Here he is coming in. And going out. Look at this catch. This was in the All-Star Game, robbing Bench of a home run. That was in Washington in '69.
As you look at Carl Yastrzemski, Montefusco has no balls and 2 strikes to him. The National League 4, the American League 1 were in the 6th inning. From a jam-packed Veterans Stadium. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you this, the Philly fans have what they came for. We've got 5 Phillies on the field right now. Schmidt, Boa, Cash, Boone, and Lazinski.
Breaking ball inside.
All 5 Phillies picked in this game are in the game right now.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Yaz. In the air, short left field, going out Boa. Larry Boa is there near the foul line. Fine running catch by the Philadelphia shortstop.
Larry Boa, the shortstop for the Phillies, picks second to Concepcion, but you won't convince the Philly fans that he's second to Dave. Self-made switch hitter, was normally a right-handed hitter all his life, and very late. In fact, his last year in the minors switched around left-handed.
Rod Carew, the first baseman, has hit into a double play and bounced to second. 5-time American League batting champion. He won 4 in a row. Good fastball by Montefusco.
You know, Bob, I remember years ago, it was Carew's first year. Sam Mealy was managing the Twins, and he wanted to play Quillisi. And Calvin Griffith sent a directive right down from the top and said, I want Carew at second base. I'll never forget the game. It was against the Senators. He went 5 for 5, and he's been there ever since.
Boy, he is some kind of hitter. 2 balls and a strike as Montefusco misses. The thing about Carew, you see him change stances so many times. He has a different stance with men on base, left-handers, right-handers. He opens up, closes his stance, hits out of a deeper crouch. 3-1 now, Montefusco behind. He has walked Rod Carew. So the American League has a runner on with 1 down here in the 6th inning. And it brings up the Kansas City Royals' fine third baseman, George Brett.
Thought it it was interesting that Brett, hitting .365, as you see here, very candidly said, yes, I do check the box score to see what Rod Carew did, because if anybody's going to catch me, it's Rod Carew.
Well, it's a tribute to Rod Carew, too, I'll tell you that. In the air, long run, right center field. Cedeno is going to get there. He's got it, 2 down. Let's go down now to our colleague Bob Prince and Joe Morgan.
Okay, Bob, it's a pleasure to have a young man here who just tied Reggie Jackson and Rod Carew. Joe Morgan, congratulations on being selected with 3 million votes. That's a great honor for you, I'm sure.
It is a great honor, Bob. You know, I didn't know I had that many friends around the country, but it's a great honor.
And one other quick question, how's your teammate John Bench?
Well, he got caught pretty good right on the bone here in the shoulder, and I'm afraid it's going to be hurting for quite a while.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Joe Morgan, thank you very much. You're a great cut at the game of baseball. Good luck to you.
Right, thank you, Bob.
Now let's go back up to our colleagues in the booth.
Throw to first base. And the runner, Rod Carew, back safely. Carlton Fisk, the Boston catcher. Wide breaking ball grabbed by Bob Boone. Carlton Fisk, he's the guy many people say makes the Boston Red Sox club go. Leader-type catcher. On the season, Carlton Fisk is hitting a .255. 9 home runs. He's knocked in 31. Good fastball.
There you saw a good shot of Montefusco, as you watch right now. And, of course, in the American League, they call Fidrich a character. But in the National League, this is the counterpart. Montefusco. You know, he got that name. He pitched for Amarillo, and they call him the Count of Amarillo in the minor leagues. And then, of course, they changed it when he came up. And here's a guy that makes predictions. Once predicted he would shut out the Dodgers.
Carew running, and Boone dropped the ball. It's going to be a stolen base. Well, the American League trailing by a score of 4-1. They set Rod Carew with 2 down. He is at second with a stolen base in scoring position.
Made a prediction last 4th of July that he would shut out the Dodgers 1-0. Believe it or not, he did so. Beat Messersmith 1-0, 75.
In the air, playable. The catcher, Bob Boone, fires that mask out of the way. Puts it away on the sides, retired. American League in the 6th, no runs, no hits, 1 left. At the end of 6.5 innings, Nationals 4, Americans 1.
Tom, regardless of what goes on in this great game of ours of baseball, it survives, and this All-Star Game is living proof of it.
It certainly is. They put on quite a show here in Philadelphia tonight.
What about your reaction to the ball game itself?
Well, other than the home run I just gave up, I think I'm very, very happy the way things are going.
And you feel, Tom, that you're coming back into the shape that you were earlier?
I hope so. I didn't pitch very well, I don't think, earlier in the year, but things are coming around. One thing that I missed tonight, I missed Fidrich. I thought he was going to get down and redo that mound and everything. He is really looks like a fine young pitcher to me.
Well, he is, and he'll see us some other time. Thank you very much, Tom Seaver. Good luck to you. Let's rejoin our colleagues upstairs.
Greg Lazinski leads it off here in the National League 6th inning. I believe I said at the end of 6.5. It's at the end of 5.5. I'm all keyed up my first All-Star game.
The 1976 All-Star Game is being brought to you as an exclusive of ABC Sports. Let's pause right now 5 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves.
The National League leads by a score of 4-1. They got things underway in the first inning. A Rose single, a triple by Garvey, and a ground ball by George Foster made it 2-0. They added 2 more in the third on a 2-run homer by George Foster. As you see, Rod Carew make a fine running catch in right field. The American League run scored in the 4th inning when Fred Lynn hit one off right-hander Tom Seaver. Bob Uecker along with Warner Wolf and Bob Prince from a jam-packed Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Our 200th anniversary. We got a big sign out here. Happy birthday, America, our bicentennial. And where else but Philadelphia? The All-Star Game, 1976. Cesar Cedeno. Boy, what a year this guy is having for the Houston Astros. in the National League's 6th inning. Boy, the express by Louis Tiant. Heating it up. 2 strikes to Cedeno. There you see the stolen bases by Cedeno. High breaking ball from Tiant. Ball 1 and strike 2. Tiant outside. Ball 2, strike 2. Shot at Carlton Fisk. Setting the signs down for Louis Tiant. He's run the count full, 3-2.
At this point in the ball game, it might be interesting to note that both managers, Darrell Johnson of the American League and Sparky Anderson of the National League, each have used exactly 19 players with 9 remaining. So both have perhaps showed off the players in an effort to give all the players a chance.
Out of play. Still a full count to Cedeno. As you look at this huge crowd at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Oh, this place has been jumping all week.
Counting the Secret Service people, over 64,000 fans.
Foul tip hung on by Carlton Fisk, a strikeout.
Bob Boone approaches. Don't forget, on ABC this Saturday, Olympic coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern Time, the opening ceremonies. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the Foreman-Frazier fight, 5 o'clock Eastern Pacific, 4 o'clock Central. And then at 8:30 Saturday night, highlights of the opening ceremonies and a preview of the Olympics. That's this Saturday on ABC.
In the air, playable. Mark Belanger, the shortstop, in short center field, puts it away, and the side's retired. The Nationals get nothing in the 6th. At the end of 6 full innings of play, National League 4, American League 1. Time of the 7th inning now, and here's Warner Wolf.
All right, thank you, Bob. Freddie Lynn to lead off here in the 7th. The American League trailing 4-1. Lynn homered to right field off Seaver in the 4th inning. Lynn followed by Belanger and a pinch hitter for Tiant. Al Oliver has moved over to left field. Cedeno in center, and Griffey comes into the ball game to play right field for the National League. The infield has Perez at first, then 3 Philadelphia Phillies. Cash at second, Boa at short, Schmidt at third, and Boone behind the plate with the Count of Montefusco on the mound. Outside for a ball. Rick Rhoden of the National League warming up from the Dodgers. Young gentleman from Long Branch, New Jersey. And that's it for Freddie Lynn. So Lynn fans, and that'll bring up Mark Belanger. You know, I was interested, Bob. I don't know if it was just my feeling, but here's Mark Belanger playing in his 13th year in the major leagues, and I was surprised suddenly to find out that this is Belanger's first All-Star game after 13 years.
I'll tell you, he's one of the fine fielding shortstops in the American League. He's done an outstanding job for the Baltimore Orioles. He keys that fine infield over there. Brooks Robinson really hadn't played that much now, and this guy, I guess, is really the kingpin over there.
There you see it. If I may say so, the #1 sports network in the world. The 1-1 to Belanger is outside for a ball. 4-1, the American League trails. Foster, the big guy so far. Who let that guy in?
Our colleague.
Foster, the big guy so far, with the 2-run homer and the RBI ground out. Popped up, Cash going back, and in comes Griffey. Griffey calls, and there's 2 down. Now let's go into the dugout, and we have Bob Prince along with Steve Garvey.
Well, Steve, my friend, you got yourself a big triple. That must have made your wife Cindy pretty happy.
Oh, I think so, Bob. I think that'll be for the new baby, and I'm looking forward to getting home tomorrow morning and let things take their course in the next week. But it's been great playing here and helping the National League.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Steve. You play this game hard, and I had to sort of laugh a little bit. Your friend Rusty Staub went down on the ball that you sliced by him for a triple.
Well, that's the way I was playing it. You got to check the conditions, who's out there, the pitch, and then we go from there.
Steve, let's go back upstairs.
Okay, Ron.
All right, thank you, Bob and Steve. Garvey, by the way, as we pointed out now, with 2 singles, a double, a triple, and a home run in 3 All-Star games. This is Butch Weiniger, the youngest player ever to participate in the history of the All-Star game. He turned 20 in March. An interesting young man, a switch hitter. Harold Delano Butch Weiniger.
Delano?
There you see manager Sparky Anderson talking to John McNamara. Sandwiched between, on the other side, is Danny Ozark. A lot of brains down there, I'll tell you that.
Oh, they got things going now. Boy, Gene Mauch really likes this guy. Gene Mauch, of course, the manager of the Minnesota Twins. He likes Butch Weiniger.
Number 2 draft choice for the Twins. And I'll tell you, he has to be considered in the Rookie of the Year running, along with Fidrich, I guess Thompson, the first baseman, and Willie Randolph.
This guy has really done an outstanding job. You know, when you take a rookie, especially a catcher, and stick him behind the plate, and got a young pitching staff at Minnesota, take a young catcher and a young staff to try to work things out together.
Low ball 3, 3-2 to Weiniger. Another natural right-handed hitter, and his father very instrumental in making him a switch hitter. 3-2 to Weiniger. President Ford, here to throw out the first ball, has moved into the box of Vice President of the Phillies, William Giles. To Weiniger. So far, the American League shut out except for the home run to right field by Freddie Lynn off Tom Seaver. There you see the count shaking off the side. Okay, he likes this one. 3-2 to Butch. Ball 4. You know, here's a kid. We spoke to him before the game. He said, look, I didn't even know if I was going to be on the ball club. Then he said, when I made it to the ball club, I didn't know if I was going to stick around. When they passed June 15th, he was happy to be there, and now he's in an All-Star game. Really, just an incredible first 6 months for Butch Weiniger on first base. Here's Phil Garner, the second baseman of the Oakland A's, and of course Garner in there for Willie Randolph, who was injured on a pickoff play a couple weeks ago in New York. The count has just thrown that ball 87 miles an hour.
He's a little below Seaver. Seaver was heating up around 96.
The 1-strike pitch to Garner, out of play.
You know, all the trouble on the Oakland A's ball club this year, all of a sudden they've started to come around, and this guy's been a big part of them. You know, when Dick Green left the Oakland A's, one of the outstanding second basemen for Oakland, Green was one of those guys that threatened to quit every year and would come back. He finally did quit, and Phil Garner took over and did an outstanding job.
That's it for Phil. So Montefusco strikes out 2 in this inning, and we go to the, let's call it the home 7th inning here in Philadelphia. The National League leads it 4-1. All right, let's go right now to Bob Prince in the dugout. He's with Thurman Munson and Catfish Hunter.
All right, thank you, Warner. Catfish and Thurman, I wonder if you two gentlemen would mind commenting on what you think about the new settlement with the 6-year deal and the year option. How does that strike you, gentlemen?
Well, I just heard over the news it's not settled.
Well, we heard that it's been pretty well ratified by the baseball, proposed by the ball players, and it does appear that the owners are going to do it, have the players ratified it. Is that all right on the player side, Cat?
Well, I think it's great. You know, we'll be playing without a contract this year, without the pension plan and everything. And I think if we settled it, like you said, I think it's great because I think the players can play it at ease.
Thurman, how about you?
Well, I think it's going to add some security, you know, especially to the players. I think there's going to be more 3- and 4-year contracts, and a couple of players, you know, their families won't have to, you know, just being able to settle in one place. I think the owners, you know, really believe now that the Players Association is a real thing. You know, we're a strong unit, You know, it's just going to be a little bit, you know, cohesive now instead of, you know, each person going in their own direction.
Okay, Thurman Munson, catfish hunter of the New York Yankees. Now let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Here we are in the bottom of the 7th. Boa leading off from the Phillies, 4-1. National League leads in an interesting situation. Tanana, the new pitcher of the American League, went over just before Boa came up, went over to third baseman Don Money, who, of course, used to play here in Philadelphia and was a teammate of Boa, and said, Larry, or rather, Don, how do I pitch to Barry? Larry. Well, this is the way. 1-1.
This guy's one of the outstanding pitchers in the American League. Frank Tanana of the California Angels. All hard stuff. Good overhand curveball, good fastball.
I'll tell you what, he's one of the few pitchers. You know, a lot of strikeout guys say, well, I don't really try for strikeouts. But he says, hey, I try for strikeouts. It's a feeling of power. Outside pitch fouled off. 2-2 to Larry Boa. Schmidt is on deck, followed by Al Oliver. National League with 2 in the first and 2 in the third.
You know, you look at a guy like Frank Tanana, and you got to wonder what kind of winner he would be on a Yankee ball club, a contending ball, Phillies ball club, any club that is really contending, Warner, because, as I said, he has got outstanding stuff. He led the American League in strikeouts, led the majors, as a matter of fact, last year in strikeouts with 269. Finished 4th in the Cy Young Award voting last year. He struck out 17 Texas Rangers in a ball game last year.
3-2 to Boa, and in the right field, Mickey Rivers on the run. He's got it. But Boa flies out to Rivers in right field, and here's Schmidt. Now, Schmidt this year, as you know, in a ball game in Chicago, in a game in which the Phillies trailed at one time 13-2, Schmidt came on to hit 4 home runs in Wrigley Field. And you know, he made an interesting comment. He said the game was so lopsided, being 13-2 at the time, he just went up, felt so relaxed, like it was batting practice, feeling there was no chance to catch the Cubs. But of course, what happened? 4 home runs in that ball game. This tape, by the way, courtesy of our good friends at WGN Television in Chicago. 4 home runs for Mike Schmidt against the Cubs, and the Phillies won that ball game 18-16. One to Schmidt. Patek at short. The throw to Carew and the 2 down. 6-3 if you're scoring, and here's Al Oliver.
Hey, looking at Freddie Patek, 5'4" shortstop from the Kansas City Royals. You know, size means nothing when you're talking about this guy. He has got to be one of the strongest throwing arms of any shortstop that I have ever seen.
Al Oliver of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And there's Carew, the flip to Tanana, and that's it for the National League All-Stars in the bottom of the 7th. So, as we move on to the top of the 8th inning, as we see American League manager Darrell Johnson, the score, it's the National League 4, the American League 1. We'll be back with more of the 1976 All-Star Game after this word from our local stations. Also, changes in the field for the American League. Actually, for the National League. At shortstop, Russell goes in at shortstop. Now that means, excluding the pitchers, the only National League players who have not been in this ball game, and here we are in the 8th inning, Swisher, Bake McBride, and Ron Say. Otherwise, Sparky Anderson has used everyone, excluding the pitchers. Rivers will lead off for the American League. In fact, for Darrell Johnson, excluding the pitchers except for Chris Chambliss and Amos Otis, everyone has played. Mickey Rivers grounded out in his only time at bat. Watch Rivers if he does it this time. After a pitch, many times will flip his bat like a baton twirler. Excellent bat control. Sometimes when he starts to go halfway around or fouls a pitch back, you'll see it. Carlton Fisk in the American League dugout. Tanana sitting next to him. Belanger and Freddie Lynn. Roden, an interesting story. Here's a 23-year-old young man. He had osteomyelitis as a youngster. Wore a brace on his right leg when he was 9 years old. Wore it for 3 years. And it was caused by an accident. He stepped on a pair of rusty scissors. And later had to have an operation on the opposite leg so both legs would be even. And here he is in the major leagues, Rick Roden. There you see Woody Fryman warming up in the National League bullpen. Used to play, of course, here in Philadelphia. Inside to Rivers. Maybe you saw the Olympic arm patch on Woody Fryman, of course, from the Montreal Expos, where we will be beginning Saturday. Olympic coverage here on ABC. The 2-2 to Rivers. Out of play. In case you just joined us, the American League, only run of the night, a home run by Freddie Lynn. There you see the symbol, the Olympic symbol, on the right shoulder of Woody Fryman. The National League, the 2-run homer by Foster. Garvey tripled in Rose, and then Garvey scored on a ground ball by Foster, and that's it, 4-1. We're in the 8th inning. Jones, Seaver, Montgomery, and now Roden for the National League. This is Mickey Rivers with a 2-2 count. And Roden off the mound. He'll have to hurry, and he's safe.
Put it in your pocket. See that one coming all the way as soon as Mickey Rivers hit that high chopper to the right of the mound. Roden got off the mound quickly. Look at Mickey Rivers chop down on that ball, that high hopper. Rick Roden, forget it, Rick.
No chance on AstroTurf.
Wow.
Maybe on natural grass, Roden has a chance. Here's Yastrzemski, who popped out in the 6th inning.
Well, you know, you're talking about grass and the artificial turf. That ball on the grass, it kills. It lays around there. The catcher might be able to make a play on it even. Not on the artificial turf, as you said.
Rivers normally a threat to steal, but of course probably will not do so with the American League trailing 4-1 here in the 8th inning. Carl Yastrzemski, certainly one of the greatest hitters in the history of baseball. Missed one batting title by 2 ten-thousandths of a point when Alex Johnson beat him out. The one-strike pitch to Yaz outside. Carew is on deck, followed by Brett, unless, of course, Harold Johnson makes some substitutions. He has Chambliss and Otis, who have not played, excluding the pitchers. There you see Carew. The National League has Perez at first, Cash at second. The shortstop is Russell, and Schmidt from the Phillies at third base. Oliver in left, Cedeno in center, and Griffey in right.
Roden's fastball on our jugs machine now up around 91 miles an hour, so he's heating up pretty good. Anything above 85, 86 miles an hour is very, very good.
And Yastrzemski could be two. Russell to Perez, double play, and Rivers took out Russell, but Russell made the double play anyway. Really an excellent play by Russell, as you'll see Rivers really knock him over. Now look at Russell. Here's Rivers, and Russell is hit actually before the throw, but still gets it off for the double play.
I want to tell you, I believe he misjudged the speed of Mickey Rivers that time, Warner, because he had the throw in plenty of time as he comes across the bag, but Rivers is right there and almost really ripped him apart.
2 down, and here's Carew. Carew 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded into a double play in the 1st inning and grounded out in the 3rd. He walked in the 6th. Out of play, a ball and a strike to Rod Carew. 3rd double play for the National League. There you see Carl Yastrzemski. Philadelphia fans, well, I'll tell you, they've had something to cheer about all season. 1-1 to Carew. That'll be out of play. You know, you talk about great hitters. Certainly, Carew's got to go down along with Yastrzemski. You realize there's 8 batting titles, batting back-to-back, Yastrzemski and Carew.
You know, a lot of people have said about Rod Carew, Warner, that if he wanted to change his hitting style a little bit, he could be a 35 home run a year hitter.
High to Carew. Don Money is on deck. 2 outs here in the 8th. The National League going for their 13th in the last 14 All-Star games and 5 in a row. The 2-2 to Carew is high for a ball. National League in complete charge so far. Rose led off the ball game with a base hit. Garvey followed with a triple, and the National League has never trailed. The 3-2 to Carew. Left center field. Oliver back. That's it. So the American League, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. One more chance for the American League. They trail 4-1.
Thank you, Warner, and I'm standing here with the Commissioner of Baseball, Mr. Bowie Kuhn, and Mr. Tom Stout, who is the Director of Marketing for the Chevrolet Division of General Motors. And Mr. Stout is here to make a presentation to Major League Baseball and to Baseball's Hall of Fame.
Mr. Commissioner, all of us at Chevrolet are pleased to present to you in the Hall of Fame this commemorative series of paintings by Robert Tom celebrating 100 years of organized baseball. These paintings commemorate the first game, Babe Ruth pointing to the center field fence in the World Series, Pepper Martin sliding into third base, and Hank Aaron breaking the home run record. And we certainly hope fans everywhere enjoy these paintings on display at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Tom, on behalf of Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame, I want to thank you and Chevrolet for this beautiful gift that will become a very important part of the history of our game.
Thank you.
Let's go to New York right now for an update on the Democratic Convention, New York City, and ABC News. All right, Cash has just singled to left field. And here's Tony Perez. It's 4-1. National League leading, bottom of the 8th inning.
I'd like to see Hubert Humphrey join us maybe next week for maybe do a guest announcing job here.
Sure, I'd
like to see him leg out a triple.
That'd be great. There's no game. We'll be back, of course, on August the 2nd, following the extensive Olympic coverage from Montreal. Cash at first base, Carew holding. This is Tony Perez, the all-time Cincinnati RBI leader. And, of course, the Philadelphia fans would like nothing more than to see Mr. Cash attempt a stolen base. Frank Tanana working for the American League. There you see Cash. Tanana followed Fidrich, Hunter, and Louis Tiant. The 1-ball pitch to Tony Perez. In case you joined us, Fidrich stands to be the losing pitcher at this moment. He went 2 innings and really was not as effective as we had seen him before, allowing 4 hits, including a 2-run homer to Foster, a triple to Garvey, a single to Rose. Hunter gave up the 2-run homer to Foster. So the 2 runs on 4 hits charged to Fidrich. Hunter went 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs. Tiant, the most effective pitcher so far for the American League, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Force warming up in the National League bullpen. Fingers in the American League bullpen. Low, a ball to Tony Perez. 2 balls and a strike. Once again, everyone has played for the American League, excluding the pitchers, except for Chambliss and Otis. For the National League, everyone has played, excluding the pitchers, except for Swisher, Say, and McBride. 2-ball strike pitch to Tony Perez. And that'll be ball 3, throw down the first. Bob, what do you think about so far, and of course including this game, the domination of the National League over the American League? I don't think, even if you were not objective, I think the most diehard American League fan would have to agree the National League, the 3-1 that Perez fouled back, the National League has been superior over the American League.
It seems, Warner, you know, with the National League clubs in the All-Star games, it seems somebody gets on with a base hit and somebody cranks one out of the ballpark and always shoots them out front very quickly. They seem to jump out in front of these in these All-Star games very quickly. In the American League, you know, they seem to always be playing catch-up baseball, and it takes their game away from the hit and run, the stealing.
3-2 to Perez is high for ball 4. Let's go down to Bob Prince now with Rusty Staub.
All right, Warner, thank you very much. Rusty, you played in 6 All-Star games, 5 as a National Leaguer, and now tonight as an American Leaguer. Do you think the American League will ever win another one of these games?
Yes, Bob, I do. You know, I think there's been a tremendous amount of interleague trading lately, and especially in the last 5 or 6 years. And coming over here, all I've seen is some great athletes in the American League. And there may be a touch more fastballs in the National League, but it's not that great a difference. I think maybe, you know, out here today, the National League lineup was a little more powerful than ours, but I think we maybe had a little more speed. And, you know, it's just one of those games when you got so many good people together, who knows what's going to happen. But it's amazing that the National League has done so well for so long.
All right, Rusty Staub, thank you very much. Now let's go back upstairs to our colleagues.
All right, thank you, Bob. 2 on, nobody out. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. 4-1, the National League leads. Cash at second, Perez at first. 1 strike to Bill Russell, the shortstop of the Dodgers. And that could be 2. Money to Garner, to Carew, double play. Around the horn, as they say. 6-4-3 if you're scoring. And on the play, Cash goes to third.
Bouncing ball, third base side. Brewer, third baseman Don Money digs it out. The throw on to Garner at second, and watch Phil Garner turn the double play. That's the first tonight for the American League. The National League has turned 3 in the ball game.
Let's make that 5-4-3 if you're scoring. Here's Griffey of the Cincinnati Reds, one of the 7 Reds playing tonight. 7 Reds and 5 Phillies. 12 of the 28 players either a Red or a Philly, and not 1 pitcher. That tells you something about the power of the starting team on both ball clubs. And, of course, let's face it, certainly, barring a collapse, you've got to figure those 2 clubs are going to meet for the National League pennant. Four to 1, National League leading, trying to make it 5 in a row and 13 of the last 14. The pitch to Griffey, tries to punch it into left field, and it's foul out of play. And, of course, you'll see the playoffs right here on ABC, the American and National League playoffs. And I guess we got to take it a step further. Barring a collapse by the Yankees or Kansas City, that's your American League playoff. All 4 clubs really in strong positions at this point. The 2-strike pitch is outside to Griffey.
Looking in now on Carlton Fisk. Frank Tanana made Griffey look awful bad on a breaking pitch, the pitch before that last one. Let's see if Carlton Fisk comes back with another one. Look at the California left-hander.
The 2-strike, 1-ball pitch to Griffey, and a base hit in the left center field. Cash scores, and the National League leads 5-1. And now 4 of the 5 runs batted in for the National League have been batted in by the Cincinnati Reds. 3 by Foster, 1 by Griffey, the other by Steve Garvey. There you see Carew and Griffey. And by the way, speaking of those playoffs, this will be the first time in the history of the playoffs that all the playoffs will be seen at night during prime time. Of course, some of the day, but the night games will be in prime time. 5-1, National League leading. Here's Cesar Cedeno. Tanana to the stretch. Griffey at first, 2 outs inside.
Well, we told you earlier that Frank Tanana is one of the harder throwers in the American League.
Bob Boone on deck.
He on our jugs machine, we've got him around 95 miles an hour. That's his fastball.
Griffey at first with 2 outs. The pitch to Cedeno is a strike. Gum-chewing Frank Tanana. More players getting away from the tobacco and more gum chewers now. What did you chew, Bob?
I chewed tobacco, but there's less players getting sick now, too, Warner.
The in-high for a ball to Cedeno.
No, I chewed tobacco. I got hit in the throat a couple of times with foul balls and actually really did swallow it, and I kind of got away from it after that.
8th, 5-1 National League. The 2-ball, 1-strike pitch to Cesar Cedeno. Griffey at first. Outside for a ball. Let's see, looking ahead in the 9th inning, if Darrell Johnson does go to the bench and play Chambliss and Otis. If he does, everyone will have been in the game, excluding 5 of the American League pitchers. National League to take it a step farther even. They have won 23 of the last 29 All-Star games, just completely dominating the All-Star Classic. And it didn't start out that way. American League won 12 of the first 16. Last time the American League won a ball game, 1971.
I know they've been few and in between, Warner, because the National League has really dominated, as you said. And again, I go back to what I said before. They jumped off to a 2-run lead in the first inning. As you look at it right there, the National League 27 wins, and the American League 18 with 1 tie.
3-2 to Cedeno with Griffey at first and 2 outs. There goes Griffey. Good shot to left field. Back goes Yastrzemski near the fence, and that's out of here. Home run by Cesar Cedeno. Cesar Cedeno with a 2-run homer breaks it wide open.
A 3-2 Frank Tanana fastball, and Cedeno got it all. You'll see Yastrzemski go back to the wall. No chance for this one. It's now 7-1 National League over the American League, and again, the home run ball has really hurt him.
You know, Bob, you said a Frank Tanana fastball. I thought you were going to say a Frank Tanana fatball, because that's what that was, right down the middle. 91 miles an hour, and I think it went out twice as fast.
You know, you talk about the guys, some guy really heating up one. You brought out a good point. You don't have to swing that hard. You don't have to hit a ball that hard. If they throw in the off-speed stuff, you got to furnish a lot of your own power. But Cedeno hit that ball nice.
Here's Bob Boone, the Phillies catcher, and of course the partisan Philly fans booed Johnny Bench when he was introduced, in case you missed it, because they felt Boone should have been the starting catcher. I thought it was interesting that Bench himself, the man and gentleman that he is, said, look, if I was a Philadelphia fan, I would agree with them. After all, the guy is out hitting me by 75 points. Right field, Mickey Rivers has it in range, and that's it for the National League, but they scored twice on the 2-run shot by Cesar Cedeno. And we go to the 9th inning with the National League leading 7-1. This is 29-year-old Ken Force, the only relief pitcher picked by manager Sparky Anderson from the Houston Astros. And you talk about an earned run average, he's got it, 1.99. Kenny Force, the brother of Bob Force, and this is his big season. Ken Force of the Houston Astros. Ron Cey has gone in to play third base for the National League, so that means only Swisher and McBride have not appeared for the National League. There you see the Penguin. And Chris Chambliss apparently will get a shot. He came out of the dugout and went back in. This is Don Money. And for the American League, Chambliss and Otis, excluding 5 pitchers, are the only fellas not to play tonight. Well, you see this guy every day, Bob.
Yeah, he's having a fine year for the Brewers. Don Money at third base. A couple of years ago, he had an outstanding year. Led the league in fielding. Just did everything. He's a fine fielding third baseman.
Popped him up. Easy play for second baseman Dave Cash. 1 out in the 9th inning. Let's go down to the dugout and Bob Prince.
One of the great strong men in baseball, Greg Luzinski. Greg, you know, all the scouts around the American and National League say they'd rather play the Cincinnati Reds than your Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. Does that turn you on or off?
Well, I think if we get to the playoffs with Cincinnati, it's going to be a tremendous series. It'll be a power-laden series with 2 good defensive clubs. I think pitching will tell the story, and you know, it's just going to be a great series. But I'm sure a lot of people fear the Cincinnati Redlegs.
Greg, thank you very much. You're a great star, and let's go back upstairs to my colleagues.
All right, thank you, Bob. This is Chris Chambliss, who loses the bat and the ball. The shortstop, Russell, throw to first, 2 down. So Chambliss gets in the ball game, leaving only Amos Otis, excluding the pitchers. Let's see if Otis comes out, and that would make everyone playing. And here comes Otis. So I think a fine gesture. Watch it again. Watch the replay. A broken bat.
Watch the gun on Bill Russell, the Dodgers shortstop, as he throws out Chris Chambliss from the left side by a step and a half.
2 down, and here's Amos Otis. So the entire bench is cleaned out for the American League. And, of course, Willie Randolph, who was named to the club, could not play because he was injured. So I think in all respect to the losing manager, Darrell Johnson, at least he did play everyone that he could. Everyone except 5 remaining pitchers. Otis hitting at .281, 12 home runs this season, 53 runs batted in. Amos Otis. 7-1, National League leading, 2 outs in the 9th. Otis, of course, came up with the Mets, was a third baseman. Then they traded him to Kansas City in the Joe Foy deal. And here now in his 7th year, lifetime batting average .281. Remember, he lost 20 pounds last year, had tonsillitis. Sparky Anderson taking a puff, celebrating his victory.
Red Auerbach used to do it.
That's right. He lit it up when it was ready to win it. Souvenir for somebody. There you see, I believe that's Dick Ruthman, isn't it? Former Philly, now working for the Braves. And the pitch to Otis strikes him out. The ball game is over. The National League wins again. Let's go to Bob Prince.
All right. Thank you very much, Warner. Here I am with Sparky Anderson. Sparky, in your mind, does this prove that the National League is superior to the American League?
If I answer that, Bob, I get killed. It's just great to win, and really, the National League is a great, great league. I'll say that. And I don't know of another league in baseball that's better.
All right. Sparky Anderson, the winning manager of the world champion Cincinnati Reds. Let's go back upstairs to my colleagues.
All right, the final scores. The National League wins at 7-1. We'll be back after this message and a word from our local stations. Bob Prince and the most valuable player of the 47th All-Star Game.
Thank you very much, Warner Wolf. And Monty Irvin, a great Hall of Famer in his own right, representing the Commissioner of Baseball for this very valued award.
George, because you're having a great season and because you played so well, I want to present to you the Commissioner's Award presented year after year by the Gillette Safety Razor Company. Our congratulations to you and continued good luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you very much. I really feel honored to receive this award, and I thought to thank the fans for selecting me as an All-Star, and I thank God for giving me this chance to play this game. Thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much. Monty Irvin and George Foster, the most valuable player of the 1976 All-Star.